my ability to do things were, I was losing ability. My balance was getting bad, and it seemed like with Parkinson's, your peripheral vision just closes in. And I get claustrophobia. I didn't sleep in bed for over a year because if I lay on my back and pull the covers up over me, it just felt like I was choking. It's weird what your brain does as it slowly is, I don't know if it's dying away or what it is, but my ability to do things for, and balance it was a challenge. If I go down the steps, I had to make sure I'm looking at every step as I went. And what were some other conditions?
Saliva. Like it just seemed his muscles didn't, when people are handicapped or something, and he would just, just run out.
Just kind of drool.
Yeah. Swallowing.
Swallowing, when I was eating, I did not want to sit down to eat without a glass of water beside my plate. In case if I go to swallow something, it gets stuck halfway down.
Anxiety was big. I just always was sure that I'm going to do something terrible or...
She did a lot of the driving, and I was always continuing to see driving between, it wasn't safe or something, I'd be hollering at her. But it was beyond my control. It was like I was just...
And for me, it was always like, why don't you just get over it? You know that I know what I'm doing. And now that he's better, I'm like, wow, it's so hard to realize that they actually can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, like, traveling, when we went to Lower Jordan with some friends, and we weren't 2 miles down the road. Well, they were sitting in front of the van, and Anna Mary and I were in the first seat. And I just told Anna Mary, I can't do it. It just seemed like I was suffocating.
Just in the back seat of a car?
And we stopped, and then I got in the front, and I was okay. But I knew I wasn't suffocating. I knew it was safe, but it just...
You just can't override that thing that's going on in the mind. It's really something, the anxiety and the claustrophobia and this stuff. So we've been on the product for 6 months. 2.5 months in is the first that we felt any difference. And I really wish we'd have taken more of a diary regularly. The first thing that I can really say is he said his brain feels so light. How did you describe it?
Yeah, it was just, there was a clarity that, there was just a fog there that had lifted, and I didn't even realize was there until it had lifted.
And you had ringing in your ears?
Right.
And that, his eyes, he was at the eye doctor twice in 1.5 years. He just said, I just don't feel like my prescription is right. Eye doctor said, you're fine. And now he is fine. He didn't change anything. It was more between the brain and the eye that he thought, I don't know.
And my glasses were to see all your people, but they were fine. But I had a problem with my eyesight because it was between my eyes and my brain, which has been healed from using the product.
So has your side vision gotten better?
Oh yeah. I went through it during the worst. I was traveling with somebody. I went through the turnpike tunnel, and they were working on the other tunnel, and both traffic lanes of traffic were going through one tunnel. I just about freaked out till we got out of that tunnel. Because the traffic just kept coming at it, and it just looked like they were squishing me. And since then, I've driven through the turnpike tunnel without any problem.
His expression. Does anybody know anybody with Parkinson's?
I've met people with Parkinson's, but there was a sales lady that used to come into the store that had it. Now she had a surgical procedure done in her head that
Yeah, I noticed some people that had that done, and it's
but
not.
I didn't think she was the same after that.
Yeah, no, it's...
Like she wouldn't shake anymore like she did before. But yeah, I didn't think she wasn't the same after her surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, there's...
And still, I still shake, but I was shaking for 8 years before I was diagnosed. but there's other things that, were a problem. And in January, our daughter's living in Arizona. In January, we flew out. That's a 5-hour flight in an airplane, which I wouldn't have done that a year ago.
13 years ago, he flew to Israel. He had to stand a lot of the time because he was claustrophobic 13 years ago. And now we flew and he didn't even have to convince himself that he's doing okay. So we were out at Dr. Prasad's birthday party and it was amazing, so amazing. To begin with, two people came to our office and tried to tell him that there's this product, just another product. And we didn't go to the meeting twice. One time we forgot, didn't go. And then Beth and Stanley sat us down one day. And when we heard their story, I said to Lloyd, well, what do we got to lose? So we started. And we had planned a trip out west to visit our daughter. She was in Colorado then. She is a tour guide for horseback riding. And we had planned to go Montana, Oregon coast, and the last place was hers, and then head home. Beth said you should come to our conference in Utah. I was like, wow, why would we go to Utah for a conference just because we signed up? But it was the weekend we had planned to be at Vernon's, 5 hours from her house. So we were at the conference and it just convinced us. So she took us on a horseback riding in September in Colorado. He didn't go. He said, I couldn't. Yeah. January we flew out because Colorado's too cold in the winter, so she had connections in Arizona to do the same thing. She took us out. He went on, no problem. 4 months later. It's just amazing. Do you want to demonstrate your walking? That's how you used to walk.
That's how he walks now. Huh?
I mean, that is, and so many people talk to us about his expression.
What would have happened before? You would have fell down?
I'd have felt my face or something.
Oh, yeah.
No way I could have done that.
Tell him how at the doorway that you thought
Yeah.
he was gonna be knocked over.
Yeah, he likes to tease sometimes, and I went into his office and he was about to come out, and he didn't move. And I was like, I looked at him, I'm coming in, and I just kind of, he said, whoa, you're going to push me down. I was kind of shocked. He could not, quickly step aside to let me in. He wasn't joking at me, I thought he was, but that's how bad it was. He could not just, quickly step aside. And now he goes walking and takes a complete turn. I couldn't believe it when he did that. He was telling me, I said, we really need to be aware of what is happening and what is changing so that we can kind of document this. And then one day he came in and said, I was feeling so smart when I was walking across the shop, so I decided to see if I can turn. And he did, and I said, like, what? I couldn't believe it myself when he did it. Like, you guys cannot imagine the change in our life and what and not just that, we spent so much money with nutritionists and blood work and all this kind of stuff. It seemed good, but it wasn't making a difference. And he was always the one, figure out what I need and I'll take it. I would study stuff and, oh, this sounds good. Berberine, yeah, that should be a good one. And you just lost. And then if you didn't do anything, at times you just kind of gave up and didn't give him much. And then you felt guilty. With this, simply so easy. He doubled up on everything. He takes 6 sticks of these, everything else twice a day, 2 of everything. That's about what he does. Have you ever had a product that you can just take for maintenance and double up and it cures a disease? Like, how good is this?
So is that the dosage he started with? 2 of everything?
2 of everything. He even started with 2 of everything with these. And then somebody else suggested about taking more, so he decided to take 2 sticks more. And it is a lot of money, it is.
Yeah.
But we were like, we're gonna do this for 3 months and we're gonna see what happens. And
does he take 2 3 times or 3 2 times?
he takes 2 3 times, right?
2 3 times. Now, I've been taking the Parkinson's medicine. The doctor prescribes 6 a day. And I take 2, sometimes 3, but mostly just 2 on whatever we need.
I see.
You're weaning off.
Yeah.
Do you go to the doctor to do the check, or does he
I
know
hadn't
you're?
been, well, when we were in California in January, I had an appointment at, my doctor wanted to diagnose me with Parkinson's. And so I canceled that appointment because I wasn't able to take it. And I'm just looking forward to sometime next couple of months, I'm gonna go again.
See what he says.
So what is Parkinson's? Or what is it called?
Well, I just heard recently, there's a celebrity, Michael Fox, that is Parkinson's, and he's a celebrity, so, you know, he does all kinds of testing and everything, all the scientific whatever. And they publicly announced that they thought Parkinson's is more of a neurological brain issue, but they're now seeing that it might be more the gut than that. Mhm. So the gut is just so big.
Did you think about in your young years that you would have gut issues?
No.
You didn't think about anything?
I didn't either. I usually thought he was better than me. I mean, I was always the picky one when it came to what I can eat and how much I can eat and get constipated.
Mm-hmm.
He never seemed to have any issues. You know, I don't know.
Now I gotta buy a better body primer.
Yeah, talk about pictures of body primer. We had to use a snake. It did not go down. I mean, talk about. It's disgusting, but it is truly unbelievable. I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? So.
But wasn't he constipated at first though?
Oh yeah, that's another thing we need to. It took
After you started taking the product?
Yes, 2.5 months he was constipated. Well, we were traveling for 4 weeks, so it was a little unfair of actually what he did go through because everything was different, and we were just sitting around a lot, you know. So it was, an eating schedule was off, but we always did take our product. But he was still, the energy was low, kind of depressed, especially once we came home. And just, I remember him coming up and sitting down. Food is just not the same. Nothing tastes right. And it's not, he wasn't hungry. He was taking so many vitamins. And he was tired all the time. So, you know, it changed so slowly. It's hard to tell. And I don't know what we expected when we started. We were just like, give me anything, you know. And so I really wish I could go back and just think of the details, how. Yeah, but I know the brain was a big part.
When I talked about sleep, I laid on my back, I got claustrophobia, so I could kind of get away with that on my side, but my shoulder, I lay on my left shoulder, I wake up in the middle of the night, my shoulder was just hurting so much. And then I lay on my right side, and both of my shoulders were just, I had a lot of shoulder pain. And since I'm on this stuff, my shoulder pain is gone.
And you're lying on your back in bed.
Yeah.
Do you take it too?
I take it, yeah.
Did you get results?
Oh yeah. Last fall I was, we mostly blow our yard, the leaves and everything. And one Saturday afternoon, it was a nice day, and I was like, this front yard, you know how the leaves can kind of stick in and just not blow off nice. I'm gonna rake this real good. It was 4 o'clock and get started pretty early, so I started raking. And it was a nice evening, it was full moon, and I said, I'm just gonna go on. So I raked and raked for 2 hours without stopping in, pretty fast. I got in, and usually I'd have been ravenously hungry. I'd have just been like, just dropped out, because I was always the type to not have enough, like, was it vitamins or nutrition or something, and I would just wear out. I said, wow, I'm surprised how I feel. I was not sore, nothing, and I hadn't hardly raked all summer. So I was like, well, I don't know, I guess that's what it is. Energy is definitely a lot better, and I always had to have my naps because especially during childbearing years, I ran out of energy very, very fast. And I could easily get without a nap. It's just
Do you expect to get rid of your shaking?
I'm not sure. That came first, and I had it a while. I'm just, it's definitely less.
Yeah, I
That
would say.
wasn't the biggest issue.
No, the balance and anxiety and brain fog, that's.
Even conversation that he could not have stood up here and explained. It just didn't come out. It was really locked in there, more so than I even realized because it came so slowly. But I do know that, and then that was before Thanksgiving, because at Thanksgiving then the kids were together and I said to Lloyd, okay, you gotta really tell them what's happening. So that's when he gave a testimony about, his balance and his going the steps and things like that. And I know that before that one time I was telling him something and he laughed. I did a double take. I was like, what? I didn't realize that he didn't laugh before. But his eyes were laughing. You know, when you laugh, your whole face, it wasn't there. And like it just came back so slowly, you hardly realized.
Lloyd was back.
He was, and we had a funeral today on his side of the family. His mom was the only one that was Amish in the family, so nobody was Amish. And they don't see him really often, and all of them were like, oh my goodness, you look at it, what are you doing? I'm inviting them all to come over on Sunday. A lot of them want to. So have Beth there and tell them about it. Because, when you get to be my age, our age, people are kind of looking for something. So it's not hard to sell. And we never thought to go, I said, I'm not a salesman. I don't do multi-level marketing. Well, this isn't considered low. But I don't tell people. Whoa.
Now you can't stop.
I can't stop. I'm so passionate about this. I love to tell them.
Well, you don't have to tell them if they know what Lloyd was at before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people see that.
So is he on Molotow?
He doesn't take sleep pills because he never really had a problem. CBD is a big one. That really calms the brain down. So he uses that. He takes 2 of everything. The CBD he has in his office, and if he gets a little stressed or something, he'll take extra. But otherwise, he is on everything.
Does he snack on the gummies?
Not really.
No.
He had some in the office one time, but he said Wilmer ate more than he did. So.
Every time we would come around, he'd grab a couple of gummies, that's what they were going.
So, yeah, and I just thought of it today. We always, every time we shared the big thing. Well, 2 of our daughters and our daughter-in-law also have a testimony, and I don't want to think that that's not big because it is huge. So Laura just had number 6. She always had migraines. Whenever she wasn't pregnant, she would have migraines.
Whenever she was not.
Not. When she was pregnant, I think your body...
The hormones change.
Yes. And when she started with a migraine, she would end up throwing up, staying in bed, and couldn't work until the next day, and then even sometimes.
How often did you go?
Yeah,
She had one of her migraines.
Yep, and I went to help out with supper or whatever. And her last baby was born in November. She did not have one migraine. She started 6 weeks before the baby was born. It was her fastest birth, easiest after the baby was born. Our oldest daughter has really been struggling with yeast. And December it was that bad, she couldn't sleep. She was just really having a problem. And then it would usually subside a little bit. When it started up in January again, she said, Mom, what do you have? I said, take the probiotics. She took the probiotics, and within 2 days, she said, I knew it was slowed down. And all through the stage of her yeast, she had no problem.
Does she only take probiotics?
That's the only thing she took then, but she is now fully
Because
committed.
one of our girls struggles with that too.
Yeah.
She's taking the core for
Yeah, well,
More
she just started with it. She was always interested. I'm just going to see what happens, And she thought she's younger, she don't need that much. Our daughter-in-law always had problems with having enough milk for her babies. She would take a tincture or whatever, and if she didn't take that, she would always be really careful with weighing them because with their first baby, they didn't realize that she doesn't have milk, and she wasn't even birth weight at 6 weeks. So it was bad. So she started taking the tincture, and then at 4 months, her third baby, she was out of it, and it was over Christmas that she kind of forgot. And then she realized she didn't gain anything in a month. I asked, would you still have it? She said, no, I was out. She started taking it, it just worked again. Now, her 4th baby is 10 months old, and she is out of it, and she said, well, she's not going to get more. It doesn't really matter if I don't have a lot. He's eating a lot. She started leaking. She never leaked in her life. I mean, isn't that just crazy?
So she was, how long was she taking the pharma?
Since October. But they're on bare minimum because it costs a lot. So, It's
Even
like
that.
really amazing for all this stuff to be happening, but it's just simply because it feeds the body, and then your body does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't come to speak for you.